Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. And we're back for take 2 of the live stream because about 10 minutes into the live stream, just about when I was going to go on a ramble, the mic and the audio is glitched. Now, I'm praying to God that it is StreamYard and not my laptop and that it's fixed now. But just let me know what the audio is like. Let me know what the stream quality is like because I am going to lose it, honestly, if it plays up. Like, please, I've restarted the laptop. I've changed the mics. Laptop, please. So just let me know what the audio is like in this live stream if you're watching in the live chat. I'm sorry if it's not great. I might have to go live tonight, which I don't really want to do because I'm really busy. I don't know. But we've got lots to talk about, and normally I would have just ended the live, but it's because I'm not live tomorrow. I really want to go live today because I might not be live over the weekend because I've just got a hectic weekend of plans. But I want to talk about Frenkie de Jong. I want to talk about all the news and all of that as well. And it sounds good now. Everyone's saying it's fixed. Okay, that is brilliant. So yeah, make sure you smash a like, make sure you subscribe. No one's getting the post notification bell for this live stream, so hopefully we actually get the 200 viewers that were in there after about 10 minutes last time, and hopefully it's not an awful live stream. But let's get right into the news. So what is going on with Manchester United at the moment? What's going on with the United news? So we know Laurie Whitwell has said that Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. He's confirmed Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders and that Ten Hag's number one priority for the midfielders, of course, Frenkie de Jong. Fabrizio Romano also said today ERIK Ten Hag's 100% convinced about Frenkie de Jong and he wants the player to be the face of Manchester United's project and become their statement signing. That was said by Fabrizio Romano. It was also said by Fabrizio Romano that Manchester United hope to convince de Jong in certain ways that their project to return to the Champions League as early as 2023 and players with Ten Hag's with the players' relationship with Ten Hag. So United obviously going all out for Frenkie de Jong. And as I said, I believe we're going to get Frenkie de Jong. And I'm going to get into why I believe Man United will sign Frenkie de Jong in just a second. I'm very positive about the deal. I feel like everything's falling in place for United to get Frenkie de Jong. And the answer, everything's adding up. Everything's adding up. And the answer to everything adding up is either Frenkie de Jong ends up at United or we end up with our hearts broken and we get our hopes up and he doesn't come. Because we've had that before. We believe a player's going to come. Sancho 2 seasons ago didn't come. So hopefully everything falls in place for de Jong to come. But everyone says the sound's working now and all of that. So I do apologise. But we're back in the live stream. Smash the like button because we need to get this shared in the algorithm so we get our viewers back because the viewership is down. And let's get into the news. So I've got a question for you guys. Which player do you think ERIK Ten Hag's going to unlock? ERIK Ten Hag's going to get the potential out of? My answer to that is Jadon Sancho. I think Jadon Sancho is probably one of our most technically gifted players. We saw spells of what he could do under Rangnick. He's only 21. He's still young. I think he's just turned 22. He's still thriving. He's a left wing, he's a right wing. I think Jadon Sancho is our big money signing, and I think he's a massive one for the future. And he is the player that I'm hoping ERIK Ten Hag can unlock. I have my eyes on Amad Diallo, potentially, obviously, new signings. But Diallo and Sancho, those 2 players I'm really excited to see under ERIK Ten Hag. I still think he can get Bruno to form back as well. Let me know if there's a particular player at Man United that you're really excited to see under ERIK Ten Hag, you think is going to thrive under ERIK Ten Hag and all of that. I'm interested to see your thoughts as well. But I want to get straight into the news. I want to get back to my point where we left off and all that as well. If the stream does lag and all of that, just let me know as well. Andrew says de Jong is key to our business. If we bring a NUNEZ type, it does not sort the creativity and not work well. Exactly. What I will say about Darwin Núñez is Darwin Núñez comes in and he's back up to Ronaldo. Darwin Núñez isn't even guaranteed to start week in, week out. He's a striker and he plays when Ronaldo doesn't play. You can't play them both together. Ten Hag plays a 4-2-3-1. He uses wingers. 16 million on Darwin Núñez, who, look, he's a decent player. He's a good goal scorer. But he's not the complete project. He can't hold up. He's not very good at hold up the play. He's not very good at creativity. He's got finishing. He loses the ball. ERIK Ten Hag made Sebastian Haller look good. I trust ERIK Ten Hag. And if Darwin Núñez is who ERIK Ten Hag wants, brilliant. As I said, Di Marzio's confirmed today. Núñez seems United or Premier League bound, and he's a good journalist. But I just think with Darwin Núñez, it's costing the same as de Jong. I don't want to spend that money on Darwin Núñez. I don't want him to be the priority signing when you don't know if he starts. You don't know if he's going to be good enough or not. It's going to be a risk because he's a bit of a player where he's got a lot of boxes missing. And, it's strikers, the midfield's going to solve the creativity issue. The midfield's going to also protect the defence. Our biggest issue by a country mile is midfield because it protects the defence, it progresses the ball going forward, and it solves that creativity issue. And Frenkie de Jong is a midfielder that basically ticks every box. Frenkie de Jong is such a complete midfielder. We all know he's such a complete midfielder. He basically ticks every single box. He's a good ball progressor. He's a big ball carrier. He can create. He's very good at finding spaces. You know, there'll be times when Maguire's on the ball and McTominay's hiding behind the opposition's man. So the passing line from Maguire to McTominay or Maguire to Fred in the midfield is cut. So Maguire has to pass it back to De Gea. And De Gea kicks it out because De Gea's distribution is crap, let's be honest. And we give the ball back to them. And, you know, people go, oh, Maguire. Maguire and Lindelof are quite good centre-backs from playing out at the back. They don't look like it because the midfield, they're always hiding behind the man. You can't pass the midfield. Frenkie de Jong will run into those pockets of spaces. Frenkie de Jong's very good under pressure. You know, when a team presses Man United, oh, panic, pass it back to De Gea, kick it out. We can't keep the ball when a team presses against us. We cannot do that. Frenkie de Jong can. He's very good at keeping the ball. He's very good with the ball in high pressure moments. He's very good at creating. He's very good all-round midfielder. Frenkie de Jong solves a lot of problems. one, because he goes in the midfield #1 priority. Even though he's not a DM, he can play in a dual pivot system. 2, he knows how to play the ERIK ten Hag way. 3, he can create. 4, he can protect the defence. And 5, he has that IQ that Fred and especially McTominay lack, which is why I think that Frenkie de Jong would be such an important signing for Manchester United. And Frenkie de Jong has been quoted at 60 to 70 million pounds. No, he's been quoted at 70 million pounds, 80 million euros, 68 million, 70 million pounds. Nunez and Frenkie de Jong are being reported at both 68 million pounds each. I know where I'd rather spend my 68 million pounds, Frenkie de Jong. And people say about de Jong, but he doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to come. Why invest your money on a player that doesn't want to come? It's not that he doesn't want to come to United. It's that he loves Barcelona and he doesn't want to leave. You know, it's his boyhood club. It's the club he loved. It wasn't that Messi didn't want to go to PSG. It's that he didn't want to leave Barcelona. And that's why Messi rejected PSG so many times, because he didn't want to leave Barcelona. And then he was forced out due to financial issues. It's the same with de Jong. It's not like it's not that they don't want to come. It's not that de Jong is like, yeah, I don't want to go to United. Yeah, fuck off, Ten Hag. I don't want to go to United. It's that he doesn't want to leave Barcelona, because I'll say this time and time again. De Jong and Ten Hag have had multiple phone calls, a very good relationship. If de Jong was so certain he didn't want to go to United, United wouldn't be pursuing him. If de Jong had said something negative about Man United to Ten Hag, we would not be pursuing him. De Jong has obviously said something to Ten Hag that makes Ten Hag convinced he can sign this player, because we are working our butt off trying to get de Jong in. The talks have advanced. We've got big news on Frenkie de Jong that I'm going to get into. And I think de Jong's probably said to Ten Hag, I want to stay at Barcelona, but if I have to leave, I'll consider United, I'll consider the project. I reckon that's what's gone on. Is the stream quality still all right and all of that as well? Frenkie de Jong wants to stay, but if he's being pushed, he would be crazy. Yeah, he'll be in the mix for us to sign him as well. I agree. Ten Hag normally plays a 4-3-3. He plays a mix of a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1. Pep does love Frenkie de Jong, and Man City have been linked to Frenkie de Jong, but apparently Man City reportedly sort of now out of the race for Frenkie de Jong, and that United are now the sole favourites to sign Frenkie de Jong, which I hope is the case. And look at what we paid for Frenkie de Jong, very much worth it with his skill set. Exactly. You know, 68 million pounds. If we spent 80 million on Maguire, why are we complaining about 60 million on Frenkie de Jong? I've said this time and time again. We're a club that spent 80 million on Maguire. You know, Declan Rice is being quoted at 150 million. Calvin Phillips now leaves the stayed up as 60 million. Ruben Neves is 50 million. De Jong 68 million isn't that much. And because of Barcelona's financial situation, because of the fact they have to sell De Jong, I reckon we can get De Jong for 60 million. Now, he's not a CDM and Calvin Phillips is a specialised CDM, but Leeds are putting Calvin Phillips up for about 10 million less than De Jong. And you know what I mean? I think if you actually look at the market and you look at players of De Jong's calibre, 68 million, I think, is a decent price for De Jong. And I actually think we can get him for 60 million because of Barcelona's financial situation. There's the news that they won't be giving their CVC details out and all of that. So I'm very positive about De Jong to United. I will get into the Timber news, but as I said, right now, and I'm actually going to read it out now, actually. So Alex Crook went on TalkSport. He's a good journalist, and he said Manchester United have accelerated talks to sign De Jong from Barcelona. Alex Crook said to TalkSport, talks between Man United, De Jong and Barcelona are now accelerating to the extent that United are putting all their moves for Darwin Núñez, Timber and Ten Hag's other targets slightly on the back burner for now. So did you notice 4 days ago, Timber to United was so strong? Literally 4 days ago, Timber to United looked like it was going to happen. It was really strong. The news was really strong. Then all of a sudden, you know, Timber to United news, it was a whole, we might stay, and it slowed down. And the Núñez news, it slowed down. And what is piping right now? The De Jong news. What is going out and about at the moment? The De Jong news. De Jong this, De Jong that. De Jong to United, it's popping off right now. And I believe it's because United are so focused on De Jong, was very advanced in the deal for De Jong. We're very much in that deal for De Jong, that we're focusing all our time and energy work on that deal for Jong. We're obviously working on 3 or 4 transfers at once. We know that. We're being secret. We're working on 3 or 4 transfers at once, but you can't strongly work on 3 or 4 transfers at once. I mean, you can't be in negotiations, strong negotiations for 4 players at once. And we're in very much advanced talks that are accelerating. We've obviously agreed a fee for Frenkie de Jong. We've obviously, had talks with Frenkie de Jong. We're obviously in talks with Barcelona. 2 weeks ago, Laurie Whitwell, who works for The Athletic, honestly one of the best journalists out there, highly check him out. He said United were in negotiations for Frenkie de Jong 2 weeks ago. It was also said that Ten Hag had a phone calls with Frenkie de Jong 2 weeks ago. Romano's confirmed talks between United and de Jong, and Romano's also confirmed talks between United and Barcelona that have been confirmed by every single good journalist under the sun. United and Barcelona have been talks over de Jong for weeks. And right now, the last few days, these talks have been advancing. And why have these talks between United and Barcelona all of a sudden been accelerating? Why has Frenkie de Jong just been put on the market yesterday? Why are we, as United and Barcelona, agreeing a fee if Frenkie de Jong was going to stay at Barcelona and, he wasn't going to leave Barcelona? Because just 3 days ago, it was revealed that Barcelona basically have to sell Frenkie de Jong for financial issues unless they want to give over the CVC details and all of that. It was revealed basically 3 days ago about all of that. And all of a sudden, since Barcelona have had this financial meeting, the de Jong news has just gone up and up and up. We were linked to de Jong, we're a bit hit and miss, we're all a bit 60-40 with de Jong. But in the last 3 days, since the whole financial situation in Barcelona, they've had all their discussions and they've got to register all these players by June 30th. They've got to get everything done by July and financially sorted by July. They've got player wages to pay. They're financially in the mud. All of a sudden, in the last 3 days, the de Jong news has gone boom, 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 boom. Romano saying we're in talks even more. De Jong being put on the market. Barcelona, reliable journalists confirming Barcelona probably going to have to sell de Jong unless he basically wants no wages and all of this. Barcelona are absolutely mudded right now and they have to sell Frenkie de Jong. So going back to my point earlier, United obviously are confident they can get de Jong because Ten Hag's had phone calls with de Jong and only Ten Hag and United know what de Jong said to him in those phone calls. We've got all these reliable journalists, but Romano, Ornstein, the best journalists out there, they have no idea what de Jong said to Ten Hag on the phone. They can say de Jong wants Champions League football, but they don't know what de Jong said to Ten Hag on the phone. And I've always said Ten Hag is a manager. He wants to get to the point. He's a ruthless manager. He wants to get stuff done. He's not here to muck about. And I've always said this about Ten Hag. He's not here to wait. He's not here to muck about. Ten Hag said, and I think in his interview, it was reported that Ten Hag had said behind the scenes, if a player doesn't want to work for me, then they're out the door. I'm not here to wait around for anyone. I don't want people at this club that don't want to work with me. And that's something Ten Hag said. So obviously, Frenkie de Jong has said something in those phone calls to Erik Ten Hag to make Ten Hag want him and make Man United make all this time and effort pursuing Frenkie de Jong. And this is why I'm so confident that there is something going on with de Jong to United. And I could look like an idiot, but I have a feeling de Jong is United bound. Because Frenkie de Jong, if Frenkie de Jong had said to Ten Hag in those phone calls, I don't want to come, you haven't got Champions League football, we'd have stopped wasting our time on him 2 weeks ago. It's been 2 weeks, we're still wasting our time on him. It's been multiple phone calls, multiple weeks. United obviously believe they can get this deal done. And as I've said, I guarantee you, I reckon that phone call between Ten Hag and Frenkie de Jong was de Jong saying, I love Barcelona, I don't want to leave, but if I have to be forced out of Barcelona, I will consider United. I do like you, Ten Hag, I'd like to work with you again, but only if I have to leave Barcelona. I reckon it's that, because we know that Frenkie de Jong is 90% going to have to leave Barcelona. If he's 90% going to have to leave Barcelona, United is the club he's most likely to end up at. There's PSG, there's Bayern Munich, that's Farmers League. The league's won in August. Bish bash boring. There's Ten Hag, best league in the world, biggest club, outside Real Madrid and Barcelona. Your manager, that you're going to be the main man. You're going to be the face of this team. You're going to be the main man. Winning, if Frenkie de Jong didn't win a trophy for 3 years, but in his third season at Man United, he brought Man United their first Premier League in 12 years. That is a bigger achievement than winning Ligue 1 with PSG. That's a bigger achievement than winning the Bundesliga with Bayern. Honestly, winning one Premier League trophy with Man United in the Premier League and giving them their first Premier League trophy in 12 years is bigger than winning 3 Bundesligas in a row with Bayern and bigger than winning 3 Ligue 1 titles in a row with PSG. It is. It's a bigger achievement, even though it's less trophies. And that's what Ten Hag can sell the project on. You go to these boring leagues, so they only have 2 teams in for you. The league's won by August. You're not the main man. It's an oil club. Blah, 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 blah. You go to United, you're going to be loved and adored by the fans. They're going to love you. You're going to be the man in my system. You're going to be pivotal. Yes, we'll be out the top 4 for 1 season, but this time next year we'll be in the Champions League, and hopefully the year after we'll even be challenging. I think Ten Hag's can easily sell the United project to De Jong. I've always said it's 90% likely he's going to have to leave Barcelona. He's basically being forced out of Barcelona. A tier 1 source has reported that Xavi is told De Jong has got to leave. A tier 1 source has also said Barcelona would put Frenkie De Jong on the market. So that means, to me, De Jong is leaving Barcelona. And United right now are the only team in advanced talks for De Jong. We keep progressing the talks. We're still in talks for De Jong after 2 weeks. So if it was true that De Jong didn't want to come to United, we would have stopped wasting our time with him 2 weeks ago. You know, Ten Hag spoke to De Jong. Ten Hag is the only person that knows how De Jong feels. Romano's a great journalist. Ornstein's a great journalist. But Ten Hag is the only man that really knows how Frenkie De Jong feels about a Man United transfer. And if he didn't want to come, I'm sorry, but we'd have stopped pursuing him. We would have, because Ten Hag knows what he said. And I think, as I said, I think it's along the lines of he'd come if we has to leave Barcelona, but he don't want to leave Barcelona. De Jong and Donny in the midfield, I'd definitely like to see that under Ten Hag as well. A nice one, Frenkie just makes more money. Of course he'll make more money, but Barcelona can't even pay his wages at the moment as well. Erik Ten Hag's the right mentality. I've always said this. Erik Ten Hag has got a winner's mentality. He's got a good mentality. He's got the mentality of a man that just wants to get stuff done. Ten Hag's come to United and he said to Murta, he said to Arnold, I'm not here to muck about. I want to veto the players. I want control over who we buy. I want control over who we sell. I want control over new contracts. If a player is not up to playing my way, if a player doesn't want me in, because some United players want a poach, if a player is not interested in listening to my instructions, I want them gone. I'm not here to give them time. I want them gone. He's going to be ruthless. And if Frenkie De Jong had said to Ten Hag, sorry, I don't want to come, there's no UCL football, Ten Hag had been like, well, I'm not going to waste my time on a player that doesn't want to come. Ten Hag only wants players at Man United that want to be at United. And I've said this with Messi to PSG. Messi never wanted to leave Barcelona, but it's not like he didn't want to go to PSG. It's just he just didn't want to leave Barcelona. And that's the same with De Jong. And he knows he's going to have to leave Barcelona. And if he leaves Barcelona, De Jong's got options. De Jong can choose between United, Bayern, PSG, City. De Jong's going to have options when he leaves Barcelona, and he could choose United over those options, which would be him choosing Man United. And I've said this, United are going to be very careful with dressing room attitudes and all of that. And everyone that knows Frenkie De Jong, and Ten Hag's worked with De Jong for years, knows that Frenkie De Jong is a top professional. You know, there are players at Man United that don't have the best attitude, and we will discuss that. You know, has anyone thought it's weird how we're really trying to force Wan-Bissaka out? You know, there's been loads of reports about Wan-Bissaka attitude problems, Wan-Bissaka having conflict with Lingard, Wan-Bissaka having conflict with this player. You know, we're trying to force Bailly out, but keep Jones. Is Eric Bailly a better centre back than Phil Jones? Yes, but there's reports about Bailly causing issues and leaks. We're trying to force Bailly out. Any player that's an issue at United, they are trying to force out. Martial, I love Martial. I don't think he's an actual issue, but he doesn't want to be at United. He said, yeah, I want to leave. So as good as Martial is, and I think we need Martial, because I'd rather keep Martial than get Darwin Núñez, and people will call me stupid, and this might age badly. I'd rather save my 68 million on Darwin Núñez and keep Martial as Ronaldo's backup. You know, I would. But if Martial's made his mind up that he wants to leave, you get rid of Martial, because you don't want people in the dressing room that don't want to be here. And that is Ten Hag's attitude. That is Ten Hag's approach. And I've always said this with De Jong. If De Jong didn't want to be here, if De Jong's phone call with Ten Hag was negative, we wouldn't be pursuing him. Something positive must have been said in that De Jong Ten Hag phone call for him to be pursuing him. I'll say that now as well. Make sure you smash that like button if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Big up David in the chat. Sell all the English players at United. You know what? The thing about the English players at United is they're overrated, and Ollie was kind of obsessed with them and all of that. They are, but I wouldn't sell Sancho. And believe it or not, and this is an unpopular opinion, I wouldn't sell Luke Shaw. I rate Luke Shaw. I do. Everyone laughs at me for saying this. Everyone calls me shit. They say, you know, no football knowledge, but I will stick by this. And I say, I do rate Luke Shaw. I will. And I'll stick with that. I think he's had a poor season, but I saw last year what Luke Shaw can do. I think Luke Shaw is our best fullbacks, which probably sums up the standard of fullbacks at United, but he's better than Tellers. He's better than Wan-Bissaka. He's better than Delo. I think you do need a left back. I'd like Tyrone Malash. I don't know how you say his name from final. I do rate Luke Shaw, though. I will say that, and people will give me stick for that. But do you know what? Who I rate more than Luke Shaw? Getting a shit ton of transfers in. Yeah, I mean, Tyrone Malasha. I don't even know how you say his name. I've watched him play once. I've generally watched this guy play once, and I'm sold on him. A guy I've watched play once, I'm like, get him in. I know. But I've watched De Jong play multiple times. I've watched Timber play quite a few times for Ajax. I'd also like them as well. I've watched Nunez play a few times. I wasn't that convinced, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. But I want to get into the story and all that, so do smash the like button. Thank you much, David Lee, for joining the members club. Really, really appreciated. The Barca board are apparently unhappy with Jong. He's not good enough on the pitch. That story's a bit conflicting, but it did come from a good journalist. I did see that as well. And Frenkie de Jong is keen to stay at Barcelona, but more his gaffer and board tell him to go, the more he'll be keen to leave. Exactly, spot on, Andrew, as well. But big up David for joining the members club. I don't think style-wise, a long-term Shaw is a fit for Ten Hag, but he could do a job for a season or two. I agree. I think, again, this is how I feel. United need 11 new players. I generally look at that United squad, and long-term under Ten Hag, if I look at every player United right now, long-term under Ten Hag, the only player I see there in 4 years under Ten Hag is Sancho. And people will call me crazy, but we really need 10 players. De Gea, unless he can adapt his game, he doesn't suit Ten Hag's style of football. I'd be going for the AC Milan keeper. I'd be going for Sanchez of Brighton. But De Gea's been our best player this season. We've got bigger priorities than goalie. We keep De Gea for a season or two. Diego Dalot, we need a right back 100%, but I think we can keep Dalot for a season or two to do a job. Same with Luke Shaw, same with Varane, same with Lindelof. I'd keep Varane, but we need a centre back in there. Okay, I think Fred can be a bench player for a season or two. McTominay can be a bench player for a season or two. I actually think Fred can do a job and is a little bit underrated. You get your De Jong in, cool, bish, bash, bosh. He's there for the 10-year future. I think Bruno could be in our lineup in a few years if he can find his form. I think Sancho could. Maybe Amad Diallo if he reaches his potential, but Ronaldo's going to be long gone, retired. You know, in 3-4 years' time, the only player currently at Man United that I could see in Ten Hag's 3-4 years' time lineup is Sancho, unless Rashford finds form, Bruno finds forms, Luke Shaw finds his Euro form. Sancho's the only player I can see at United, which sums up how many players we need. But when we need 2 midfielders, a striker, a centre-back and a right-back, you know, as much as we need a right winger, a backup left back, maybe a backup for Bruno, maybe another centre back, you just have to look at it and go, well, realistically, we can only get 5 players, 2 midfielders, centre back, striker, full back, and that seems to be Ten Hag's priority. The very, very reliable Laurie Whitwell once again did confirm Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders, Frenkie de Jong being the #1 priority, but they're also looking at Kante, Enzo Fernandez, and a midfielder from Ajax. But I think he said something about the midfielder from Ajax being a lot harder to get because obviously Ajax are losing a lot of players and they don't want to lose too many more players as well. Big up Kenneth as well for joining the members club. Really appreciated Kenneth for joining the members club. Thank you very much. Malafa had a good season with Feyenoord. I did a research and looked up Malaša, and he's looked very good lately. And I'm looking forward to seeing Sancho next season exactly. And Donny, yeah, I did miss out Donny. I think Donny could be heavily involved next season. But I want to get into the transfer news and all of that. But luckily, the mic isn't playing up. But it's been said by Fabrizio Romano. Big up Fabrizio Romano said Erik ten Hag is 100% convinced about Frenkie de Jong and he wants the player to be the face of Manchester United's project and become their statement signing. Romano's confirmed Ten Hag wants de Jong, wants to be the statement signing, bish, bash, bosh, we know that. Fabrizio Romano has also said Manchester United hope to convince Frenkie de Jong in certain ways. He wants to convince de Jong about the project, how they'll be in the Champions League next season. It's only 1 year out of the Champions League and the player's relationship with Ten Hag. Talksport, Alex Cook said, obviously, we've accelerated talks for Frenkie de Jong today. Isn't it weird that, you know, the day after it's Frenkie de Jong's put on the market, the day after Frenkie de Jong's been told he has to leave Barcelona, United have accelerated talks for Frenkie de Jong. Coincidence? I think not. It also came out yesterday, if you didn't watch my video that came out last night, that the sale of important players by FC Barcelona is not ruled out and Frenkie de Jong is best located. That came out by eSport 3. It also came out from Xavi Torresel, a decent journalist, saying that Barcelona will not sign the CVC deal and the club would rather prefer to overcome financial issues by reducing salaries and the sale of an important player like Frenkie de Jong, which is not ruled out. And as I've said, de Jong are going to probably, not de Jong, Barcelona are most likely going to have to sell de Jong. I mean, it's basically been confirmed. De Jong's on the market and Xavi's told de Jong to go. That has been confirmed today. And because de Jong's on the market, because Barcelona are desperate to make that money and sell de Jong, even though Barcelona wants 70 million for de Jong, I generally believe United can get him for 60 million. And that's why I think United have been in talks with de Jong for so long. Laurie Whitwell confirmed negotiations with de Jong like 3 weeks ago. We're still in talks from now. We agreed on a fee, agreed on a price. We're still in talks for de Jong. We've been in talks with de Jong for ages. And I think that's because United know, and you know what United are like in the transfer window, as little money as possible, please. Even though Judge and Woodward aren't here, Murtaugh's been here under the Glazer era. Murtaugh will try his best to see if they can get 5 million off Frenkie de Jong. He will. The good thing about Ten Hag is Ten Hag put his foot down and said, I want my signings by July. I want them bish, bash, bosh done. So Murtaugh's got to get to work and get this de Jong signing done. Then he can get his Timber, then he can get his Nunez, then he can get his fullback, then he can get his other midfielder. Because reported we want 2 midfielders, which I will get into in a minute. But, Barcelona have put de Jong on the market. It also came out that Xavi has spoken to Jong and explained that his possible departure would be conditioned by the economic situation. And apparently the board are not particularly happy with De Jong's performances, and the board want to sell De Jong. And that as of today, Barcelona must pay their players by June 30th, which means De Jong has got to be sorted this month. De Jong has been put on the market yesterday. It's advancing. Bish, bash, bosh. Coincidence? I think not. It's about almost 400 people watching, so please do smash that like button if you have not already, and subscribe down below if you're new. Garnacho's a bit overhyped. He's like Dan James. Garnacho is nothing like Dan James. Dan James was a 15 million man from Swansea. Garnacho's a guy winning the Youth Cup and smashing it up in you know, the young league and all of that. But also, we know that Barcelona want to sign Koundé, they want to sign Bernardo Silva, they want to sign Lewandowski, they want to sign Rafinha, they've got Christensen and Kessie to register on a free. You know, selling De Jong is part of Barcelona's plan. They have to. You know, a tier one source has said De Jong's on the market. A tier one source has told Xavi, said that Xavi's told De Jong he's got to go. You know, we know who De Jong wants to buy, and not De Jong, we know who. I'm fucking messing up my words. We know who Barcelona want to buy, and the only way Barcelona can buy the players they want to buy is by selling Frenkie de Jong. Okay, they have to. And as I've said, De Jong loves Barcelona, but I think he's coming to the realization he's got to leave Barcelona. And his options are United, they're PSG, they're Bayern Munich. But at United, you're the main man. You've got a bigger challenger in the best league, and you're working under Ten Hag. And him and Ten Hag have had multiple phone calls. And I'm going to say this again because I've said it a million times. Ten Hag is still pursuing De Jong after multiple phone calls. So De Jong has said something to Ten Hag that's made him very positive that United can sign him. It came out last week that United are 100% positive they can sign De Jong, and that United are confident they will sign De Jong. Well, De Jong must have said something to Ten Hag to make him confident we can sign De Jong. Because now we know he's got to leave Barcelona. Well, we've got to beat out PSG. We've got to beat out Bayern. But De Jong's spoken to Ten Hag, and United are confident they will. So De Jong's obviously said something positive. I saw someone put on Twitter that Van der Beek and Frenkie de Jong were the base of Erik ten Hag's success, and they said that, you know, this would be a great opportunity for both him and Van der Beek to utilize each other the best, and hopefully Ten Hag can unlock Van der Beek. And you know, when you look at the Ajax day, there was De Ligt, there was De Jong, and then there was Donny van der Beek. But it was very much like De Jong and Donny van der Beek were sort of like the pivotal. They were, you know, they were very key to his success as well, which I think will be really intriguing to see. Let's give it out for Pellistri last night too. 30 seconds after kickoff, he shrugs 3 players to assist Cavani. I did see that. And look at me looking at a 30-second clip of Pellistri and now convinced he's the right wing for United. That's not me. Yeah, it is a bit. But I will get into this in a sec. I will get into this actually because I was about to talk on this, so I'll just leave the chat there. Yeah, Pellistri and Amad Diallo. So obviously we'll get into we've got more De Jong news from Romano coming out as well. But all I'm going to say is I'm very positive about De Jong to United. All I'm going to say is good phone calls with Ten Hag because we're still pursuing him. He's been told he's up for sale, and the day after he's been told he's up for sale, we're advancing and accelerating talks with Barcelona. Everything seems to be falling in place for De Jong to United. Keep an eye on that. The Timber and Nunez news has gone quiet because we're solely focusing on Frenkie de Jong. Bish, bash, bosh. Pellistri was really good for Uruguay the other day. I think Pellistri is a good player who's had a poor loan move. We sent him to the most defensive, worst team in La Liga. You know, do you know what I mean? You know, Amad and Pellistri are good players with poor loan moves. And I'm up for keeping one of them. Personally, myself, I keep Amad and give Pellistri a good loan move. But if we don't get a right winger on with Rashford's form, I mean, is it time to just rotate Garnacho, Amad and Pellistri on the right wing? Because if you look at Arteta and you look at Arsenal, you know, one of the reasons Arteta had a successful season is because he just was like, yeah, we're going to play Emile Smith-Rowe, we're going to play Saka, we're going to play Martinelli. I'm just going to give them the minutes over the likes of Pepe, you know. And I think that's what United got to do. If we can't get a right winger because we need 2 midfielders, a centre-back, a full-back and a striker ahead of the right winger, why don't we alternate Pellistri and Amad if Rashford's underperforming? There's Elanga, there's Mejbri that can even play on the right, there's Bruno that can play on the right, there's Donny that can play on the right, there's Garnacho that could come through and play on the right. We've got a lot of players that can play on the right. But I think Pellistri is a player that would benefit from a good loan move. I think Amad Diallo is more ready than Pellistri. I actually think Amad Diallo is a player that stinks of Ten Hag. Like when I watch Amad Diallo play, he's got that technical ability you know, and I just think he's a player that could really thrive under Ten Hag. I really want to see Amad Diallo play on the right under Ten Hag. I really think Ten Hag could get the best out of him. I'm fully backing Amad Diallo. I'll say that now, and people think I'm an idiot and all of that. We can't be playing with Telles and Delo as our fullbacks. I do agree, fullbacks are very integral to Ten Hag's system, and I do worry about them. I don't get the point with Barcelona selling a player to buy new players. I think they want to buy new players to improve their squad, obviously. So if they want to buy new players, they've got to sell, if that makes sense. Jong will be a good replacement for Bruno Fernandes. De Jong's not a replacement for Bruno. De Jong's a replacement for Pogba, even though they're not like for like. De Jong's the Pogba replacement, and then we need to focus on getting the Matic replacement. But because Man United play a 4-2-3-1 system, I don't think it's the most important thing in the world to get an out-and-out six. We just need a six that would complement De Jong in the pivot. So Lemar is not an out-and-out DM. He doesn't hold in a 4-3-3 on his own, but because he's very defensively sound, he would complement De Jong in a 4-2-3-1 pivot. Same with someone like Sangare. They complement De Jong in a 4-2-3-1 pivot. Whereas Neves, I'm not sure if he would. McTominay, I'm not sure if he would. And I think, you know, we can't get a Declan Rice. He's way too expensive. You can't get Calvin Phillips. He's too expensive. There's, you know, Tchouameni's gone, Kamara's gone. There's not many good CDMs out there. And, you know, so we can't get a CDM that can play on its own in a 4-3-3. We've got to get a CDM that can be in a dual pivot with Frenkie de Jong and work well with him. And that's why I think you need to look at Lemar, 20 million, at Sangare, 30 million for me, if you want my honest opinion. Guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do subscribe to my channel. It would be really, really appreciated. It would mean the world if you subscribe to my channel, because I will be live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. If you want all the latest on Frenkie de Jong, smash that subscribe button. If you want the latest on Timber, Nunez, and everyone, make sure you smash that subscribe button, because I tell you this now, I'm confident, I have a feeling, and I could make myself look like a mug. You know, I don't care if I look like a mug. Clip this, embarrass me when De Jong goes to Man City. But I have a feeling De Jong to United is very, very close. I have a feeling De Jong to United could be on the verge of something big happening as well. Cheek Decore, I'm not too familiar with him, but a lot of people are mentioning his names as well. And Kenneth says, clearly we need many players, but maybe over time. Liverpool never brought 6 at once. It's going to be slow, but if we start enjoying the football, that will be fun. You know what? I agree with that comment. Spot on. I think with United, I've always said this. We've brought stars in the past. We've gone big. We've brought stars in the past. And it's never always worked for Manchester United. You know, I'm more into getting players where it be a step up. You know, Mane was a good player, but Liverpool's a step up from Southampton. Van Dijk was a good player, but Liverpool's a step up from Southampton. Salah from Roma, Alisson from Roma, Matip from Schalke, Robertson from Hull, you know, Keita from the RB club, Fabinho from Monaco, Firmino from Hoffenheim. You know, you look at Liverpool's squad, none of them came from big teams. You know, there were some big money signings in there, but they were some of the later signings. None of them came from big teams. None of them were massive signings. You know, they were doing 3 or 4 small signings that were good, young, up-and-coming players that could develop their career under a good manager Klopp at Liverpool. And that's where Liverpool get everything right. So I do agree with that comment, you know. For me, as much as I'd like 10 players, as much as I'd like 6 players, if we got a good fullback, 2 good midfielders, and Timber, I'd be quite happy with that. And when we just keep Martial and we go for a striker the following summer, I would. I really would. I just think we do need 2 midfielders, we do need a centre-back, and we do need a fullback. And actually, I think fullbacks are very important to Ten Hag's system. I do think we need a right-back with Wan-Bissaka basically being forced out. So I do agree with that comment. Man United's deals narrative driven, still no result. You're spot on. You know, United are all talk, but no result. Alice, what about Kante? I wouldn't mind him for a year or 2, but I think, you know, Chelsea is selling him because, again, damaged goods, past his best, not been at the level, injury prone. It's like getting Matic again. You know, we've just got rid of Matic to get another player that can't play week in, week out. When he does play, he's a brilliant player, but I mean, I wouldn't mind Kante for a year-long loan if we couldn't get another midfielder, and it's Kante, De Jong, Donny, Garner as our midfield options and all of that, and Bruno. But yeah, Thiago came from Bayern, but what I meant is that Liverpool did their bigger signings later on. And obviously, you know, they won the league before they signed Thiago, you know, and their aim was to win the league again for the first time in 30 years as well. Kante a bit past it, I agree as well. And ERIK and FRENKIE and Donny as mid. Yeah, I would love to see that. So I want to get into the next news story because we've got lots to talk about as well. And I've also got a story about Wan-Bissaka as well. I was going to get into the David Carno, Jurriën Timber news and all of that. Man United obviously in for Jurriën Timber. They're taking a foot back on Jurriën Timber to focus on De Jong. Tim was obviously having doubts because of the World Cup and all of that. I think Timber's just going to be delayed a bit. I'm still confident we'll get Timber, but United are looking at Braga centre-back Carmo as a potential option if they don't get Timber. He's the fullback option if we don't get Timber and all of that, which is interesting. Again, with Dybala, because someone asked me about Dybala to United. United aren't in for Dybala, and I've said I think that's the right thing. I think we need to get away from big names, big money signings. I think we need to do what Liverpool do and just go for those little underdogs. Like, I'd rather a Tyrell Malacia come in, that young left-back to challenge Luke Shaw, rather than us going for a big left back. You know, those young, quick, up-and-coming players that can be developed into Ten Hag system, that have got the right personality, right attitude. And I think that's what United are looking at. I think Ten Hag will be the statement signing. Then I think we're looking at the Timbers, the Malacias, maybe someone like a Lema, I think would be a good signing. Maybe someone like a Sangare as well. But talking of outs, Fabrizio Romano's gone the bish bash bosh. Dembele's gone to Chelsea. I think that's a good deal for Chelsea. Maybe that frees up Ziyech to Man United, because Ziyech was really good under Erik ten Hag. And Ziyech's nearly 30. I don't want him at United, but if Chelsea offered us Ziyech on a season-long loan to solve our right-wing issue, I'd take it. Ziyech and Kante are players from Chelsea I'd take on a season-long loan, and I think Erik ten Hag would get the best out of. I will tell you that now. So Dembele going to Chelsea, I think it's a good deal, but that could also mean Ziyech could be on the way out. And Ziyech's a United fan. I know he's injury-driven. I know he's not been amazing at Chelsea. Left-footed, right winger. I think he could do a job for a season or two as well. But it's also been confirmed by Romano that Manchester United are waiting on proposals for Wan-Bissaka. Romano also said about, Tuanzebe and Bailly set to leave Manchester United as well. That also came out. Now, Manchester United have offered Wan-Bissaka at least one club ahead of the transfer window, said Samuel Lucas as well. And it's very clear that Wan-Bissaka's had problems at United. Samuel Lucas even said Wan-Bissaka's encountered some issues settling in the north of England. Reports, and there's been reports that Wan-Bissaka's not close to his teammates. I think there was reports that Wan-Bissaka hooked up with Lingard's ex, which caused a conflict between Lingard and Wan-Bissaka. I've been told from a source that, Wan-Bissaka was causing dressing room issues at United. Again, the source that told me this could have made it up. I didn't even know who he was. He was just claiming to be a source and said, I know this, by the way. I don't know. I'm not claiming that Wan-Bissaka's causing dressing room issues at United. I'm just saying I've heard things. I don't know. I'm not a journalist. Just don't want to get misconstrued. But, when you look at Wan-Bissaka, okay, as soon as Ragnick came in, Wan-Bissaka barely got a chance. Even though Delo had some good games, he did have some stinkers. He still wouldn't play Wan-Bissaka, and then Telles was god awful. Could have played Wan-Bissaka left back, didn't. Ever since Ragnick's come in, Wan-Bissaka's got the Bailly treatment. Bailly's better than Phil Jones. Why is Phil Jones playing over Bailly? Because it's evident Bailly was leaking stuff and causing issues in the dressing room. And a lot of Ragnick's spell was not always the best players were playing. Alanga was playing. He's not our best player, but he was playing because there was issues with Lingard in the dressing room. There were issues with maybe Wan-Bissaka in the dressing room because Delo was playing over him week in, week out. There was issues with Bailly in the dressing room. There was a lot of issues with players in the dressing room, and obviously Lingard's going, Bailly's for sale, all the other free agents are gone. I think Wan-Bissaka's a player where he didn't seem very close to his United teammates, really. I mean, he's not a social media guy, maybe that's just him, but he didn't. You didn't look at Wan-Bissaka and go, he's got a great bond with his teammate. There was reports with Wan-Bissaka getting in arguments with people and not getting on with certain teammates and all of that. Wan-Bissaka didn't look particularly happy at United. He had a good first season, then he didn't look particularly happy. His form has dropped off. There's reports of him driving and he's had all those issues off the pitch. Wan-Bissaka's time at United off the pitch, there's been a lot of negative reports. Now, I'm not going to paint Wan-Bissaka as a troublemaker, all of that. I'm just going off reports that we don't know are true or not. And it's very obvious that United is trying to push Wan-Bissaka out, which says to me, now look, we're happy to keep Delo and push Wan-Bissaka out, which I think is the right decision. But I don't think Delo is that much better than Wan-Bissaka. And I just think that maybe there's the chance that Wan-Bissaka has caused some issues at United, and maybe that's why we're desperate to get him out. I think it's very obvious that United are trying really hard to get players out that, have caused issues in the dressing room. I think one of the main things about this rebuild is obviously we've got 5 players that have gone on a free. Well, actually 6 if you include Lee Grant. You've got Bailly and Tuanzebe set to go next. You've got Wan-Bissaka set to go next. You've got Brandon Williams set to go next as well. Phil Jones, Man United want to get rid of, but he's going to stay because he's not going to get anywhere near the amount of money anywhere else. So he's just going to stay for the money. You've got Phil Jones that's going to stay for the money. Maybe an Andres Pereira we could get rid of, but it seems that Ten Hag wants to give him one last chance. And I look at this in 2 ways. Ten Hag giving Pereira one last chance would be brilliant in pre-season, then it'll be shit again. But then I go, you know what? Could Andres Pereira got McTominay last season or Bruno second half of the season? Probably not. So maybe if you need a player to fill in because of the lack of midfield, maybe you keep Pereira for a year. Not that I want to. I would like us to sign 2 midfielders. Poor Jong comes to United, he's got to play with McTominay and Pereira. Imagine that. Oh, God. No, I'd feel sorry for Jong. I'd understand why I wouldn't want to come. But obviously, United trying to get rid of a lot of players, and Ten Hag made it very clear. Any player that's not interested in being part of the project, any player that's going to complain, not listen to his instructions, he wants gone. We know Rangnick had a very long phone call with Ten Hag that lasted a couple of hours, and Rangnick's probably gone all in on Ten Hag and been like, yeah, this player is trouble, this player is trouble, and look, Ten Hag doesn't want trouble. Ten Hag doesn't want issues in the dressing room. Ten Hag is very much like, you know what, anyone that causes an issue, I want them gone. Anyone that's going to make a fuss, I want them gone. And that's what I do really, really like about Ten Hag. He's not here to muck about. He's not here to be an idiot. He's here to get straight to business. And that's why I'm so confident with Frenkie de Jong. De Jong's had multiple phone calls with Ten Hag. And if De Jong wasn't going to come to Man United, Ten Hag would have given up on them. Ten Hag would have said to him, stop wasting your time. Ten Hag and De Jong have all most likely had a semi-positive phone call for Ten Hag to still be pursuing De Jong after those phone calls. And that's why I'm positive. Sorry if I'm speaking a bit fast and unclear as well. Funny, ain't it? Go watch a player, and the one that stands out on loan is Pereira. Yeah, we were watching someone else, and then Pereira apparently stood out when we went to watch him. I'm sorry if this background music is really pissing me off. 207 likes, guys, and let's go for 300 likes. So please do smash that like button if you haven't already. Laird looks like more of a modern fullback if he can stay fit. Brilliant at Swansea, and when fit was quite good at Bournemouth. Laird's a really good fullback. He can never stay fit. He's like the Daniel Sturridge. He was really good, could never stay fit, and then because he never stayed fit, he went crap. Delo 1 assist. Well, yeah, look, I don't think Delo's the best player in the world, but he can do a job. He's got the right attitude, and it's really funny because there's a lot of teams interested in signing Delo, and you think 20. Apparently we're being offered like 20 million for Delo, and you think, oh, we'll take that. But then if we need to get rid of Wan-Bissaka, can we afford to get rid of Wan-Bissaka and Delo? I think we can only afford to get one. Wan-Bissaka pretty much fell off after one good season. Even defensively, he started to decline and become a problem. Not an automatic starter. I agree. I think, as well with Wan-Bissaka, and I found this with Martial as well. As soon as they had to fight for their place, as soon as they weren't starting week in, week out, they got crap. Same with Cavani. As soon as Ronaldo came in and Cavani wasn't the main man, he had an ego problem, always got injured, didn't want to play, became crap. Martial, as soon as Cavani came in, had an ego, wasn't the main man, wasn't the main striker. He just then became crap. Now Rashford's not starting week in, week out, and Alanga is. He's just become crap, although he was crap when he was starting week in, week out. And that was the same with Wan-Bissaka. I think there's a few players at Man United that they had it so easy under Ollie. You've got to remember, you could predict Ollie's lineup. It was De Gea, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, McFred, Bruno, Rashford, someone else, and Ronaldo up top. It was Rashford, Greenwood, and Ronaldo up top. Sancho couldn't even get in. Greenwood, Rashford, Ronaldo, Bruno, McFred, Lindelof, Maguire. If Varane was fit, he'd play. Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, and De Gea was basically Ollie's lineup every week if he could. No matter if we were crap, no matter if we won, no matter if we lost. Rangnick comes in, and all of a sudden, Wan-Bissaka, who gets to start week in, week out after being crap under Ollie, gets dropped. Can't get back from that. Rashford, who got to start week in, week out under Ollie, despite being crap, can't get back from that. Martial and Cavani came under Ollie and wasn't starting week in, week out, flopped. A lot of these players, it's like once they weren't starting week in, week out, they flopped. And it's like their egos couldn't handle it. They were so used to being handed starting on a plate from Ollie. It didn't matter how crap Maguire was, he was going to start. It didn't matter how crap he was Ollie's favourite, he was going to start. McTominay had 10 stinkers in a row. It didn't matter how Donny came on for 10 minutes and showed McTominay up. McTominay was going to start that next game. And I think Ollie caused a lot of issues with egos and stuff. Ollie protected these players way too much, rewarded them for poor form, never gave other players a chance. And the reason Lingard and Bailly, I think, were causing dressing room issues, a lot of it was because of Ollie. Ollie promising them to stay, giving Bailly a new contract, and then never playing them despite Maguire and Bruno being crap, and they should have been swapped over. 100%. You have to have some sympathy with Lingard. You've got to have some sympathy with Bailly. I think Ollie's favouritism, lying to players, promising they'll play, but playing the same poor players, I think caused so many ego and dressing room problems in the squad. I think ideally the main problem has come from the board overpaying players, causing the social media element of Man United to be such a popular thing. It seems that our board care way more about social media and how many social media followers have we got than anything else. Seems there was a leaked report that United players were complaining that this player got a better brand deal than him, or this player makes more from commercials than him. I'm thinking, you're a Man United player and you're complaining Ronaldo makes more money than you from brand deals. Well, pipe down, he's Cristiano Ronaldo. Who the hell are you? Seriously. pipe down. Why are you complaining about Ronaldo making more money from sponsorships when he's Ronaldo? You know, you need to focus on your performances on the pitch. If you play for United and you're playing crap on the pitch, your last worry should be, oh, Ronaldo makes more from a sponsorship deal. You know, the Man United dressing room was foul. There was a lot of problems in the Man United dressing room. And I think, you know, I think Ollie was a bit of a cause of that. I won't lie. Big up David saying, please like, share and subscribe, guys. Big up David. Please do smash that like button. Guys, if you are new, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football because I go live every single evening. And if you do want to stay up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfers, updates, and more, please do subscribe. I'm 20 subscribers away from 37.7k. So it'd be really appreciated if anyone subscribe right now. Anyone who's not subscribed right now, clicks that subscribe button for daily Man United live streams, content, news, and more as well. I read out that comment, didn't I? The best ever getting dissed by non-league players. Honestly, you know, Ronaldo got dissed by Man United players that weren't even performing. Ronaldo's obsessed by winning, which is what we want. I don't think it was Maguire complaining weird enough. Maguire did an interview and spoke really nicely about Ronaldo as well. Ollie ruined the United squad. I agree a little bit. I think Woodward and Judge were the main problem, but I think Ollie's favouritism, you know, Ollie covering up for these players, Ollie being too nice to these players caused a lot of problems. I think Nottingham Forest will do good. Not a yo-yo club like Norwich. Up and down. Norwich go to League One, stay out the Premier League for as long as Forest. Look, I'm really happy that Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. They're a massive side, and I'd like to see James Garner go out there on loan. I think we need to sign 2 midfielders and give James Garner a Premier League loan so he gets ready. Heard rumours about Enzo Fernandez, and I think he could be brilliant like Alvarez at Ajax. And can play both 6 and 8. I'd like to pursue Enzo Fernandez. I think De Jong and another midfield is a must. You stick De Jong next to Pereira, you stick De Jong next to McTominay, and you've got the Pogba issue all over again. You buy a brilliant midfielder, but he doesn't complete your midfield. You need to sign 2 midfielders. It's like United signed Pogba, assumed signing Pogba was going to complete the midfield, but we didn't build a team around Pogba. We brought Maguire, thought it was going to solve the defence. We didn't build a team around Maguire. If you're getting a player like Frenkie de Jong, we need to build a team around Frenkie de Jong. And I think that's what Erik ten Hag wants to do. It's just will the board do it? I think it's very obvious ten Hag wants 2 midfielders and to build a team around de Jong. But knowing the Man United board, is you get de Jong and then they'll go buy NUNEZ and go, sorry, you don't have the funds for another midfielder. I'd rather sign 2 midfielders, de Jong and another midfielder, than de Jong and NUNEZ. I'm saying that now because our midfield is so much more of a priority than anything else. If worse comes to worse, just force Martial to stay. As well. Of course, Maguire gave David De Gea no credit in that interview, always pushing the Dean hype. Yeah, Maguire said that Ronaldo's been good and that's it. He didn't give De Gea any credit. That is true, actually. That's interesting. Maguire has played better under Dean Henderson because I think Henderson's ability to play a higher line and distribution does benefit Maguire more. But at the end of the day, when De Gea's been one of your best players and Maguire's been one of your worst players, I'm not interested in dropping De Gea for Dean Henderson because it'll improve Maguire. I'm interested in getting a centre-back that will work better for De Gea because, you know, De Gea doesn't deserve to be dropped. Hannibal will be an interesting player to see under Ten Hag as well. And yeah, would you give Garner a chance? Potentially. If we sign only De Jong, then yes, because I think he's better than fucking McTominay. But I think Garner would really benefit from a Premier League loan. He's a good player and he's probably been better than what we've had this season. But I just think he would benefit a lot more from a Premier League loan. I just don't think he's 100% ready yet, being honest with James Garner as well. But De Gea gets Maguire Pollock, that's why. And the market is very soft on Martial anyway, and his attributes might suit Ten Hag's back up despite his suspect attitude. Exactly, and that's how I feel about it. Big up Matthew saying, subscribe to Alice Talks Football, Ronaldo legend. I can't believe how much respect the club and appreciate the support of the fans. I'm thankful. Thank you very much. Yes, guys, please do subscribe if you're new. 15 subscribers away from 37.7k, so it would be really appreciated if you do subscribe as well. I've got a few more stories to get into and all of that. Fabrizio Romano has said that Man United's current plan for right-backs is Diego Dalot. Obviously, teams are interested in Diego Dalot, but United would have to have a decent offer for Diego Dalot. Romano has confirmed the decision's been made between Ten Hag, Murta and Man United to sell both Baye and Tuanzebe. Now, I'm hoping United could get a good 20 to 25 million for Baye and Tuanzebe. I'm thinking 25 million for Baye and Tuanzebe, 25 million for Dean Henderson's 50 million. I'm thinking if we can get, 10 million for maybe a Williams is 60 million. Maybe you sell a Martial, that's 90 million. Maybe you can sell a Tellez for another 10 million. Maybe we can get fucking Phil Jones out the door. I'd take anything for someone to take him off our hands. But, if we can get 25 million for Baye and Tuanzebe, that would be quite good to invest back in. I think 25 million for Baye and Tuanzebe, 15 million for Wan-Bissaka. So you're looking at 30, 40 million for them. maybe 20, 30 million for Dino. I think we'll get 20 because we always get miles off. 60 million takes Dino. I think we can make a bit of money out of sales, to be fair. Obviously, Mata's gone, Matic has gone, Cavani's gone, Lingard's gone, Pogba's gone. Hopefully, a few more players out the door, but this time we get a bit of money. The Telegraph has said that Jurriën Timber's price tag is 40 million euros, which is 34 million pounds, which is not a problem for United. So Jurriën Timber for 34 million pounds, according to the Telegraph, which is a steal. But obviously, Jurriën Timber worried about game time, would rather join United in January. So United are looking at Braga's Carmo. I generally think, wait until we get this De Jong deal sorted. I generally believe United's number one priority right now is going in for De Jong, seeing if we can get a deal done for Frenkie De Jong. De Jong's been put on the market. All of a sudden, talks between United and De Jong are accelerating and all of that. I think basically Man United are just working on a deal for De Jong, thinking, what can we do with De Jong? Bish, bash, bosh. I just think that's what we're focusing on. De Jong, he's been put on the market. He's been told he has to leave. Ten Hag believes we can get him. I think we're working on De Jong. I think once we've got this De Jong deal wrapped up, which I believe we'll get him, I hope we'll get him, I pray we get him, I really want De Jong, then I think we'll hear what's going on with Timber. But I think the Timber thing's stalled because of the De Jong situation and all of that as well. I'd not sell Fred. I wouldn't sell Fred. I think Fred's been our third best player this season. I wouldn't even. McTominay's been crap. McTominay's been one of our worst players this season, but I wouldn't sell McTominay. I just wouldn't start him. I'd happily have McTominay if he only started the cup games and was on the bench as a rotation player. That I don't want to see McTominay starting, week in, week out next year. He's not good enough. If Ten Hag can get the best out of McTominay, because every manager sees something McTominay, great. But yeah, we desperately need two midfielders. Yeah, smash that like button if you want two midfielders at Manchester United, and of course subscribe down below. Thank God the audio didn't mess up this live stream. Thank God, because I tell you what, I was getting really worried. I tell you that now, because the audio has been mucking about a lot lately, hasn't it? So yeah, yes, but what I was going to say is do subscribe if you're new. I've got two last stories to get into. Marzi obviously confirming Darwin Núñez is Premier League bound. Romano saying Ten Hag's obviously 100% convinced about Frenkie de Jong and how they want him to be a statement signing and all of that. And I am going to say it about Frenkie de Jong, watch it. These next few days, watch out for Frenkie de Jong to United. Just watch out for it, because it's really heated up these last few days, De Jong to United. It really, really has heated up. 2 days ago, Barcelona had a financial meeting and they decided De Jong had to be sold, and De Jong was put on the market 2 days ago. Talks are now advancing for Frenkie de Jong, so really keep an eye on it. I genuinely believe something could happen in these coming days for De Jong. I actually saw something on Twitter, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you this. I think you're going to find this really interesting, guys. Bear with me a sec, because I really want to share my screen to this as well. It's come out from Raza Rehman that Man United are preparing the opening bid for Frenkie de Jong, but he's a bit of a shit journalist, so I'm not even going to give that the time of day. But one of these clickbait journalists is saying we're about to put in a bid for de Jong. It might not, but he might be right, but he's one of those clickbait journalists. But look at my screen here. Are you ready for this? You're ready for this? So I saw this tweet. We'll get rid of the banner because you can't see me. I saw this tweet, and this is the first dates of Man United signings before COVID, because COVID messed up a lot of things. Oh, I got something in my hand. Ouch. So Man United in 2019, they got someone on June 12th, but they actually agreed on June 7th. Then they got someone on May 29th the season before, June 10th the season before, June 4th, and May 8th. Okay? All I'm saying is United, before COVID, and now COVID's basically gone, got get business done a lot by the first week of June. So if we're looking at the clock, if we're looking at what we did before COVID, that means the first summer deal is done in the next week, because it's the 3rd of June. This means Frenkie de Jong could be a deal basically agreed in the next 7 days, because United do like to get their deal agreed in June. They do like to get a first deal agreed in June. And we are very advanced with Frenkie de Jong. We've agreed a fee. We've had negotiations with Frenkie de Jong. I believe he's going to be forced out of Barcelona. In fact, we know he's basically being forced out of Barcelona. I believe he can come to United, and I am deludedly confident we're going to get De Jong. I generally think we're going to get De Jong, because I have deluded confidence, and I have deluded confidence when I want something to happen. I also said I think that Manchester United will beat Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. We didn't. So don't listen to me. But I think, again, this is a positive sign. This is meant to be the transfer window where United get business done early. No Woodward, no Judge. It's Murta. Okay, this is meant to be our new transfer window where we get things done quickly. We get a different approach and all of that. Well, if that is the case, then we've got to get someone done this week. And, if United are here to prove a point, if Ten Hag wants his business done by July, by pre-season, we've got to get something done this week. And looking at that and looking at when United do business, I think something could happen. They're wasting the time on the transfer. Honestly, I don't think they are. I think Ten Hag's have phone calls with De Jong, and I think if the phone calls between Ten Hag and De Jong were negative, we wouldn't be going in for De Jong. De Jong's obviously said something to Ten Hag to make us consume it. Did I say Fred De Jong? Did I say Fred? I don't know what's going on. I keep messing everything up as well. The great thing about Fred is he works his butt off and he does what he's told, even if he's bad at it. I think he would be good for the youth coming in. I 100% agree as well. I like Fred. He's not an issue at all. He's not, Fred will work hard. Fred will do what the manager tells him to do. And yeah, he's had some bad games, but he's still one of our better players. I do really like Fred. I will get things done quicker because Ten Hag isn't screwing around and probably warned the board that prior to taking. I generally think it's all going to take off this week. I know it's been quiet, and I know I said last week it would take off this week, but I generally believe that it's been a slow start. But I think once we get going, it just gets going. Like Harry Kane, how he might go a month without scoring a goal, and then once he scores one, they keep going in. I think with Man United, it's like I think it's going to take a while, but once we get one deal, they're just going to keep rolling in because we've been working on 3 or 4 deals as well. So hopefully we can get stuff done as well. Fab reported that ideas of approaching the rebuild at Man United of Ralph were not the same as Erik's, really. How do you think they'll differ? I don't know. Ralph wants 10 players, but maybe Erik's like, I just want 3 or 4 players at a time to make sure they're the right signing. I don't know. Ralph's just more brutal. Ralph was just fed up with some of our players, and Ralph was just way more brutal. He was like, yeah, we need 10 new players, get rid of the lot. Whereas I think Erik ten Hag is here to give players a second chance, and I think Erik ten Hag wants to establish a good relationship with the players, because I think one of the reasons Rangnick failed so badly is because Rangnick lost his cool with the players. And I understand why Rangnick would lose his cool with the players. They were ignoring him. They were poor players. They had poor attitude problems. But Rangnick losing his cool with the players and throwing them under the bus, which we loved, obviously made us play worse on the pitch. And I think Ten Hag maybe was a different approach in the sense that Ten Hag wants to have a good relationship with the players. Ten Hag spoke about Maguire being very good. People are like, why is Ten Hag saying Maguire's good? Because he's a new manager. He doesn't want to cause a problem the first week he gets there saying, yeah, Maguire's not been good enough. Maguire is not leaving Man United this season. Maguire will stay at Man United this season. So Ten Hag's going to speak good of every player at United as well. Fred was crap for the 3.5 years before this one and then had a few good months. We need to keep him for another season, but no extension. I agree. I agree with that as well. Fred gets selected for Brazil. Fred's weirdly good for Brazil, but I think Fred again has got this Man United curse. I think because United, what we do in the past is, and what United have done is, we buy a team of individuals. We don't buy a team. We buy loads of individual players, but we don't seem to build a team. It's like, let's buy Pogba, that's the midfield sorted. Let's buy Maguire, that's the defence sorted. But we don't build a team around them. So when Paul Pogba goes off to France, he's brilliant. Oh, wow, look at Paul Pogba, he's doing brilliant for France. When, what was I going to say? When Fred goes off to Brazil, he's one of their best midfielders, And then when Luke Shaw went off to England, he's brilliant. When Maguire went off to England, he's brilliant. But, I just think there's a sense of, because we would buy all these players and stick them together, it just didn't quite work. We didn't build a team or have a style. And I think, with Ten Hag, we might have players like Fred, but if you put Fred in a midfield with Donny and De Jong, and it's quite a balanced midfield, you might see Fred look like a really good player. Has anyone ever thought that? He could be like a Genie Wijnaldum or just someone that fits in a bit and it becomes part of a system. Because Fred's not an individual player. I think Fred is meant to be a system player. And you need a mix of system and individual players, but you need them all to play together. And I always feel like that with United. It's like we have some quite good players. I think we do, but it's about, can they play together? And I think, I've always said this, I think Ten Hag's going to get the best out of a lot of our players, and I hope Ten Hag gets the best out of a lot of our players. I think that we'll see a big improvement in players like Sancho. I think we will see a big improvement in players like Ahmad. I think that Ten Hag will likely get the best out of them as well. Winning the Champions League, well, we're not in it, but I'd like to win the Champions League. I did get a Madrid shirt the other day. I got sent it to me by Mystery Jersey King. And Casemiro and Fabinho protect Fred a lot for Brazil. They are so much better than 5% of the clubs they play. Yeah, I agree. That's spot on. But I'm saying, the thing about me and midfielders is Ten Hag plays a midfield too. And it doesn't matter what midfielder you bring in. If you stick that midfielder next to McTominay, they're going to look crap. Fred's best games have been when he's been next to Matic, and he's had some good names next to Pogba. If Matic has a good game, normally Fred does. And I feel like this with the Man United midfield, if you buy De Jong, but you stick De Jong next to McTominay, you're not going to get the best out of De Jong. But you buy De Jong, and let's say we buy Lemar because he kind of complements De Jong, we buy Sangare, or we even get a Kante in for one season, but we actually get Kante playing well rather than playing poor. But Kante's a bit for 50-50 because he's a bit inconsistent at the moment. You get the best out of Frenkie de Jong. But if you stick Frenkie de Jong with McTominay, you're not going to get the best out of him. McTominay, and I know this sounds horrible, but McTominay can't even start in the Scotland midfield. Billy Gilmore is rated higher in the midfield. He plays centre-back for Scotland. I just think while McTominay's got a great personality, a great attitude, and I think there is a player in McTominay, because Sarah Alex, Ollie, Mourinho, Ragnick, they can all say something of McTominay. I think maybe you get a brilliant CDM and you stick McTominay box to box and he's in an advanced role. You might see a good McTominay, but he is not a good defensive player. And I say, well, McTominay, he needs to be on the bench. And if we do play him, can we play him in an advanced role? Because I do not want to see McTominay at CDM ever again. It's not worked. It's never worked. I've had enough of seeing McTominay at CDM. United only buying one midfielder the transfer window, giving Andreas a chance. If Man United buy one midfielder and say it's because they're giving Andreas Pereira a chance, I will 100% lose my shite. I will 100% lose my shite. I do not want that. I do not want to see that whatsoever. I tell you this now, Man United. No. Buy two midfielders. I beg you. I beg you of anything. Just buy two midfielders as well. Fred can run around a bit, but I expect this lack of baller skills will be exposed under Erik ten Hag's system, says Andrew. I do agree as well. I think Fred can do a job. I think ideally we need two midfielders and Fred's the backup for injury and McTominay's the backup for injury. But look, McTominay has not convinced me he's good enough for Man United. I do agree. I do 100% agree. But, you can't sell him because we've lost Pogba and Matic. You can't sell him. You've got to sell him next season. That's how I feel as well. We don't need two centre mids. We need one good one. We have Van der Beek coming back, Garner coming back. Fred can do a job. Potentially, yeah. I see what you mean, but I still think we need two midfielders because you just don't know what you're going to get from Garner and Donny. You just don't know as well. And that's the thing with us supporters, coaches, etc. We fail to observe our players in depth. Yeah, I think the problem is we've got a lot of players that play too much. I do quite like the idea of Lema and De Jong as well. When does England play? Is it tomorrow? I think they play at like 5 tomorrow. I'm not really sure. I don't care about unless it's the Euros or the World Cup. I couldn't give a shit about the international break. Unless Garnacho was going to make his first team Argentinian debut, or unless like a Man United player was going to have a special moment. I just don't care about international games. I don't know if anyone else is like that. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of Garner this season, although he could do with at least 6 months Premier League loan. I agree. And we're on 300 likes. Yes, guys, I am going to end the live stream here, but please do smash that like button. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, make sure you're subscribed to Alice Talks Football because I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news. So if we put in a bid for a player, I'll be live. If we sign a player, I'll be live. If we sell a player, I'll be live. If you want to stay up to date on the latest news, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. If agreement's done, if De Jong agrees personal terms, then that means done deal. If we wake up tomorrow and De Jong's agreed personal terms, that means done deal. And I'll do a video to let you guys know. So if you do want to be updated on the transfer news, smash that subscribe button. What I do want to say is thanks everyone for tuning into this live stream. Really appreciate it. It means a lot. See you next time. See you tomorrow. Well, I won't be live tomorrow, but I'll be live Sunday. But I will do a video tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bye.